playing with chess.com. My question is for Grandmaster Ding Liren. I suspect you might know this is coming. Some people online have found games played on Lee Chess that match very closely with some games played here. What is your reaction to this rumor?
Welcome back, guys. We were discussing in the recap that we have some drama brewing at the World Chess Championship match. There has been a leak coming from Team Ding, from his camp. It seems like some of his preparation has been leaked in a very interesting manner. I have to say, I've done this myself as well. We've had some problems in 2018, so we kind of have experience when it comes to being on the team that leaks some opening preparation. So yeah, quite an intriguing moment. Fabi, tell us a bit about that and let's start discussing it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who discovered it first, but I can imagine how it was discovered. Basically, the openings which were played in the match so far, some of the openings, for example, the H3 line, which Ding played in game 2, which was a very costly opening for him because he lost that game with white. Or, for example, the opening that was played in the game today, this Nimzo with E3 and A3.
Yeah.
And even the London. All of these, I think the London is less relevant because it didn't follow the London game that they had. But especially, I think this H3 line, it probably alerted people, combined with the game today, to the fact that some rather low-rated players on Lee Chess had been playing a lot of the openings that were played in this World Championship match at a very high level. And it's easy to see from the quality of the games.
I mean,
that these are grandmasters and possibly even top grandmasters.
Kudos to the investigator, Ludwig Delarge, on Reddit. He made this incredible thread, pretty much putting everything together, editing new things that are coming and new details that are coming along throughout the day. This started at the beginning of the game once Rook to A2 came on the board, and once things and investigators out there started looking for clues. And as you were mentioning, he did find this clue that there was a game played between 1500s on Lee Chess, and 1500s don't play chess like that, right? Strange stuff. Both accounts, F. Vitelli and OPQRSTUV, were created in mid-February. So we're assuming that potentially this is when they started getting ready for the World Championship match. They only played against each other in rapid games. The account, OPQ, blah, 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 are just whatever. Yes. Rated 2730 in both Blitz and Bullet, but 1500 playing unrated games. Perhaps so that it doesn't alert other people that some high-rated players are playing rapid games. I've done this myself as well with my team.
Well, I just want to.
Have you done this?
Well, I've only played like training games over the board mostly. If I play training games online, then it's not really for a big event. Like usually in my camps, I'll have camps with people in person. Why would we play online?
Exactly.
For Ding, maybe it's a bit different because I don't know how it is in China in terms of travel and being able to get there easily for, let's say, a European passport holder like Richard Rapport. So I just want to correct one thing because some of them were rated games. I have like the list of games from Lee Chess, and some were casual, which I assume means unrated, but a lot were rated, and I have like 72 games here that were played.
72 games between these two players.
Yeah, and all rapid games, and 72 rapid games is a lot. It takes time to play. I assume these are like 10-minute games. It takes a lot of time to play 72 of these games.
Yeah.
And so very specifically, the opening that was played today, up to Rook A2, B6, E4, Bishop A6, Bishop E5, H6, H4, move 12. And yeah, obviously 1400 rated players do not play perfect prep. That is not even known to anyone. Was a kind of unknown to me and probably to many other people. Up to H4, which all happens to be correct and is also then used in a World Championship a short while later. And then you combine this with the fact that they also played 13 games with the fourth move H3 in the Queen's Gambit, a move which was basically unknown, and then starts to be massively played between these two anonymous accounts that both seem to be super strong grandmasters. It's kind of almost self-evident at that point that one of these players is Ding Liren and one of them is Richard Laporte. Even though it's not confirmed, I think this is like a very safe bet. I mean, you can probably bet your house that this is the case.
It was not confirmed, and in fact, it was denied. And we should also point out the fact that Mike Klein asked Ding Liren at the beginning of the press conference whether this is the case, because some players have been spotted both on Lichess but on chess.com as well, and we will get into that in just a second. And ask him,
Yeah, I
hey,
think
what's
same
the
name.
situation? Are you getting ready with Richie Rapport for the World Championship match, or have these opening ideas been prepared before, and are these games accurate? And he said, I have no idea what you're talking about, something along those lines.
I don't know which game you refer.
Were any training games played online that you can remember that resemble games played here at the World Championship?
I don't know.
Then Mike Klein gave the mic to somebody else and then came back again with a second question also addressed to Ding Liren, and he asked him why he was late at the press conference.
Thank you very much. Next question, please.
Mike Klein with chess.com. Grandmaster Ding Liren, I have to ask one follow-up. Today is the only day there was a delay in the press conference. I believe you met with your team after the game. Can you please let us know why you met with your team before coming to the press conference?
Well, I analyzed this game a little bit, and my second showed me there's this very simple way to win with rook d3 instead of d7. So I would regret it.
So the entire meeting was about actual chess moves, is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alerted him to this situation, and we've experienced this in 2018 as well. If you remember, when you came back from that game after the leak, I had to tell you, hey, there's going to be some questions. You probably should say no comment. You remember that moment?
Oh yeah, I remember. And I think that this is kind of a more direct, like, okay, basically in 2018, people speculated a lot. Was this some sort of ploy? Was this some sort of trick to get them to analyze the openings that I didn't intend to play? Did this have any effect? Was it a tragic error? You know, what would it cost me the match, and so on? And like I said it then, I kind of stand by that this didn't really have an effect on the match. I don't think it changed his opening approach. It certainly didn't change mine. I continued to play what we prepared, even though some of those openings were shown in name, basically a brief moment in a video, a promotional video, which was supposed to be released after the match. Or it was where we were filmed at our training session, and it was basically an hour of filming. They came to us, filmed us, and it was supposed to be released after. That's what we were told. Obviously, I have no problem with, being filmed, but I would not like it to be released during the match, for sure.
Yeah.
So it was just a mistake. That being said, they only showed basically a few of the lines that I wanted to play, and they were lines that you could easily assume that I might prepare.
Yeah.
Because in the Petrov, and already I had shown, like, it showed that I wanted to play the QGD. But it had already shown it in a point of the match when I had played the QGD, so that was kind of known that I wanted to play the QGD.
Yeah.
This was not a secret. And the Petrov stuff, I mean, it's clear in knight c3 variation that black can play as knight d7 f6. That was kind of shown that one of the files was that. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to guess that I might go for that direction.
But a huge difference between that leak and this leak is that right now we actually have moves between these two players. In our league, those were just names of openings, maybe ideas of direction. Okay, he's going to play this direction, and even that wasn't very clear. In this particular case, we specifically have moves, and we have such a huge database. You just mentioned 70 plus games between these two players. You can bet your house that right now Nepo has at least part of his team analyze all of these games that have been played between these two players, these anonymous two players, both on Lichess and on chess.com.
Yeah, so I think the story is that they were first playing on chess.com and then they got banned, probably because the algorithm saw a bunch of I don't know really how it works, but I guess it showed, there's a bunch of very low rated players and they're playing at the level of like Hikaru
Yes.
or or some of these top players, and it's like, or Wesley, and it's like, okay, this can't happen.
Yes.
So it banned them. And then after they got banned there, they decided to move to a different website.
So this is the first one is Autumn Stream, with in fact a Chinese flag next to the name. This particular account was closed for fair play violation. We don't know exactly what that means. We assume that maybe if this was indeed Ding, and by the way, he's playing only rapid games, and he's only playing against this other account, GG Why Not. And GG Why Not is still alive right now. Last
I saw
online was 3 hours ago.
I saw that like the name changed. It was something else before, but the name of that account changed. I don't really know the whole story about that, but like, okay, it's pretty clear that they were training.
Yes.
At least that's what I think, that they were training, and yeah, we have all these games. The thing is, like, 13 of them were played in the knight of 3 d5 h3 line.
13
And
of
all
them.
those games are relevant.
Wow.
Sorry?
13 of them.
Those games are, yeah, all the games in the position after knight of 3 d5. There was one Catalan,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking through the game, and it's not super relevant. I mean, it's a theoretical line they played, but not very, like, I guess they were probably searching in this Catalan a bit, but I don't suspect that Ding will play the line that was played in these games because it's not super dangerous.
Yeah.
And then there's 13 games with h3,
Yeah.
and these are kind of irrelevant at this point because obviously nobody's repeating h3.
He's shown his hand with this h3 move. Yes.
Yeah, h3 is not a line to keep playing over and over again. So the question is, what at this point is relevant? Because obviously the Nimzo played today was already played, so that information is out. And we're kind of assuming that this person, this account F Vitelli, I think we're assuming that it's Rapport, and the account with a bunch of random letters, OPQRSTUB.
Perhaps that's Ding.
Probably is Ding.
Which is a bit strange because, for example, in this particular game that we have, or at least there's one of them with h3, this F Vitelli was playing with black. Oh, actually, that makes perfect sense. Yes, Ding was playing it and he was preparing this with white. Yes, that actually makes perfect sense. So
I mean, it's totally normal also that they would play variations with both colors because sometimes you want to see from the other side as well.
That's a good point.
And I don't think these games are like, you don't have to do it a particular way. You can play training games however you want to. It's if you're kind of trying to explore the human approach to an opening, then you might want to see it from either side. So there's a lot of games in e4, some games in the Najdorf, some games in the Rosalimo, a lot of games in the Italian, and so obviously some games in the Marshall, as isn't to be expected, because Ding is a Marshall player, so it would be a normal place for research. So to me, like, something that draws my attention a bit is the games in the English opening, because after c4, the most played move was e5, and the second most played was knight f6, knight c3, e5. So there was a lot of reverse Sicilian going on. So I assume that they're like looking in the direction of the reverse Sicilian, but again, this is not a surprise whatsoever because Ding is a c4 player, and the reverse Sicilian is what Jan usually goes for.
Yeah.
And they're kind of looking in some offbeat directions. One line they're looking at is the 4 knights, reverse Sicilian 4 knights. I don't know if you have like a board with that up.
I do not, but I can definitely check some of their games. Let's see what we got here.
Well, there's a move queen c2 and move 4. I don't think it's like the only reason I mention this is because it's actually Rustam's idea.
So c4 e5, yes.
c4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, knight c6, and queen c2 here. Like
Okay.
this line has basically never been played before by strong players. Okay, it was played in 2019 a little bit, like Jeffrey played it, Ivan Salgado played it, but from like the top level, I guess Jeffrey against Anish was kind of top level, but I played it twice, and I won twice against Karyakin. So, I mean, it's not a super dangerous move, but I just noticed that this was played a bunch of times by them. They were looking in this direction, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a funny move. It's basically, it's sort of a cheap trap. Basically, the idea, which Karyakin kind of fell into, is a d5, cd5, knight d5. There's knight takes e5, knight takes e5, queen e4, winning a pawn. Which okay, black can avoid it, of course.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm going to generally say that this leak doesn't really matter much.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love to dramatize it, but the h3 stuff is off the table.
That one is irrelevant right now. Yes, it's too late. Nobody's going to play h3 anymore. This rook to a2, out of the window. He's not going to repeat it.
Yeah,
what else
all the
from
games,
your analysis has kind of jumped into your eyes in terms
yeah,
of
I mean, if
opening
I like,
preparation? You mentioned some
see,
Italian, some Gioco Piano.
yeah, if I see that some Najdorf was played, I don't think I'm going to assume that Ding is playing the Najdorf. For example, there's no games in the French, but I wouldn't start like preparing the Najdorf, or repeating Najdorf before games just because there were a few games played in the Najdorf. I don't know if it really matters or means much.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, for sure, I would say have a look at the games played in the Petrov, because Jan is a Petrov player, and there were 2 games played in the Petrov, and they were both kind of very theoretically relevant. And one of them was an idea that I was thinking of playing, which is very rare move g3 in some long line. It was played by Yu Yang Yi. It's a known move, but it's a very double-edged and dangerous move for both sides. And so maybe if I saw this, I would think, okay, let me repeat this line of the Petrov, because who knows, maybe he decides to play e4 and try to, if they have some ideas in Petrov, try to spring some trap. Like, it's a very direct line that Jan has played on multiple occasions. He beat recently, last year. He beat Levon with it in the Singfield Cup. I was preparing this against Jan, certainly looking this direction. I mean, I played this against Jan in the candidates, not exactly what these 2 accounts were playing, but some similar stuff. So it's a big direction. So has Ding, thought about playing e4? It's certainly possible, but he at least hasn't shown that intention yet.
If you were in Nepo's shoes, what would you instruct your team to do right now with this new information?
I mean, I would say, yeah, just look through it, and if there's any games that like jump to mind as possibly relevant, then let me know and I'll have a look at it. But the thing is, the Italian stuff might not interest Jan at all, because obviously Ding is not going to play the Italian against him. That's just out of the question. So, and Jan hasn't shown any inclination to play the Italian with white. He's played the Ruy Lopez, so he might not have any interest in the Italian games whatsoever. I don't know. Maybe he would have some interest, but looking at these games in the Italian, bunch of random stuff to my eye. Nothing really comes to mind here. Okay, there were a few games in the very, very classical variation, but no real information there. The Marshall games, I kind of saw something which, I mean, there was a few anti-Berlin games, but Ding has not shown any. This would kind of worry me that maybe Ding wants to play the Berlin. It would certainly worry me, but again, I don't know. And they were playing some very topical stuff. Like, they were playing my idea against Nakamura from the candidates. This knight b3 on move 8, queen e1, a4, a5, queen e1, a4, knight a5, which I recently used against Lequan Liam 2. So, and they were looking at some practical tries here. I can tell because there were some of the tries that
that you are looking,
that's-
direction that you are looking as well.
But-
An intriguing little wrinkle in this match. We haven't seen a lot of leaks in recent, let's say, match history. Of course, 2018, this one as well. In my opinion, in my estimation, is definitely a big one. Definitely something to work with. Maybe it will affect both of these players. We're going to have to wait and see whether that's going to affect Ding psychologically, add to the pressure that he's already feeling because of the last couple of games. Maybe it's going to be a positive note for Nepo's mental capabilities. So only time will tell. We're going to have to wait and see what these players are going to sprinkle in the upcoming games. But very, very intriguing development. Fabi?
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
it's an interesting one.
Yes, tomorrow you're starting commentary, so I'm going to let you go. But
Yep.
very intriguing. Let us know what you think is going to happen due to this leak in the comments. We're definitely going to be reading those and address them in a later podcast. Anyway, have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.